What's up, guys? It's your boy Stevie the Black. That's STEVEE the Black, and I'm here today on day 4 of WrestleMania week, and I'm here to give you the top 10 best WrestleMania matches in history. That's right. I went through every WrestleMania, and I put together a list that compelled of my own opinion after some research of the top 10 best matches in WrestleMania history. Now, obviously, after 30 years, or technically 32 years now, we've had a lot of great matches. And with WrestleMania this Sunday, hopefully we can add some of those matches to this list one day as well. But for right now, let's get started. All right, so starting off with number 10, we've got WrestleMania 17, The Rock versus Stone Cold Steve Austin 2 for the WWE Championship. This match was no disqualification. It was really hyped up. It was really billed as one of the best matches in WrestleMania history. And it was important that this match was good, not only for this match, but this pay-per-view, because this is right around the time that Vince McMahon bought WCW. He had defeated WCW. He had crushed his competition. And what better way to prove your dominance than putting on a successful WrestleMania? Now, I believe this was on my list of one of the top 10 worst WrestleMania, one of the top 10 best WrestleManias. So, there was that. And which made this match more memorable is the fact that Vince McMahon came down and helped Stone Cold Steve Austin win the match, thus turning Stone Cold heel and him aligning with Vince McMahon. This aligns with, oh my God, after everything that Vince has put these men through, after everything that Stone Cold has done to Vince, these two are just going to join forces now. I mean, it was unthinkable. It was back when Hulk Hogan turned heel, and you're thinking, oh my God, Hulk Hogan turning heel? That just was impossible. It's like The Undertaker losing the streak. But he did lose the streak. It's like John Cena turning heel. We don't know if he'll turn heel. But seeing Stone Cold and Vince on the same side? Unthinkable. And that was what made it on this list. Because of that, and because the match was great. Alright, so number 10, same WrestleMania 17. We had the triple threat tag team match for the Tag Team Championship and TLC. This match was pretty good. Again, the reason we remember all of this is because of Jeff Hardy hanging off the ropes and Edge's mid-air spear. Like, I think he just came up with it. Like, I don't even think it was planned, but because of that, see, when you do things like that aren't planned, but gets the crowd excited and off their feet, you've done your job. And Edge and the Hardy Boys and the Dudley Boys did their job that night. The only thing I'm really concerned about is every time they had a match like this, Edge and Christian always won. Why couldn't the Hardy Boys win? Why couldn't the Dudleys win? That's my only problem with that. But other than that, it was an excellent and phenomenal match. So, the 8th best WrestleMania match in history will happen at WrestleMania 12. And it was Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart in the 60-minute Iron Man match. And what made that match was so special was because the fact that it was 60 minutes, so it means it's an hour. They wrestled for an hour. And the fact that neither Shawn Michaels nor Bret Hart could get the pinfall in that. So when the match was over, it's like, oh, it's a draw. Bret Hart's going in the back, and they're like, nope. We're in sudden death mode, so the person who gets the first pinfall submission will become the champion. So Bret Hart gets back in the match restarts. Sweet chin music. That's game 1, 2, 3. And as we all know, the boyhood dream has come true for Shawn Michaels. And that was Shawn Michaels winning his very first WWE Championship. His first of 4. Well, technically 3, but 4 total. Alright, so WrestleMania 10. Bret Hart versus Owen Hart is the 7th best WrestleMania match. And what made this match so special was because brother versus brother, and we've seen these matches before, but this was a technical match, obviously, between these two, and a lot of people going in weren't expecting Owen Hart to win or to be a very good match. But the fact that it was not only a very good match, but the fact that Owen won had a lot of potential, and this made it legitimized Owen Hart, rather, because he was tired of being Bret's little brother. He was tired of being in the shadows, so he said, I'm going to prove myself. And he did just that. Of course, later on in the night, Bret Hart would go on and win the WWE Championship. So, it was all fine. It's not like Bret went down in the toilet because of it. He did win the title later. So, there was that. All right. So now we go into the sixth best WrestleMania match in WrestleMania history, and we have WrestleMania 26, Undertaker versus HBK number 2. Now, if you guys know, that match will be on this list, but you don't know when. But that match was incredible, and it was obviously the streak on the line, but Shawn Michaels' career was on the line. So, I want to say it was about 75-25. The crowd didn't want Taker to lose the streak. But at the same time, we didn't want Shawn Michaels to lose his career, but we knew something had to give. It's kind of like right now, where we don't want Shane... We want Shane to win his match so he can become the general manager, so he can control Monday Night Raw. But we also don't want The Undertaker to not only be his last WrestleMania, but for him to lose again at WrestleMania. So it's kind of like, well, what are we going to do? Like, is there a way we can get what we want? Not really, because their fans are not going to accept a no disqualification. First of all, the match was no disqualification, so there was no point in that happening. But the fact that, again, it wasn't as good as their first match. So if their first match was a 10, I mean, it was good. This match was a 9. It was perfect. A perfect way for sending HBK off, in my opinion. And unlike most wrestlers who come back, for at least for one stunt or whatever, at least for the Rumble, HBK is content with staying retired and not interested in coming back. Every now and then he may come back and give someone sweet chin music or whatever, or give his opinion on something. But other than that, he's content with staying retired, and we're not always fine with that, but whatever. But on to the match. The match was great. Just kind of like last year, kick after kick, move after move, tombstone after tombstone, just amazing. And that kick that Shawn Michaels gave The Undertaker after he moonsaulted him on the table, I thought that was it. I'm thinking, oh my God, the streak is over. 1, 2, kick out. It was just amazing, and that's why it's the 6th best match on this list. As for the 5th best match, we have WrestleMania 3, taking the back all the way to the beginning. Well, early days of WrestleMania, rather. And we have Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant. So what makes this moment so great? It's the fact that we all know Hulk Hogan lived body slamming Andre the Giant. He had been body slammed, and he'd never been body slammed technically in front of a live show. And by live, I don't mean like in front of a crowd of people. I mean in front of a crowd of people and in front of the world. Andre had been slammed before, body slammed before, but just never in front of the TV, I guess you can say. So when Hogan body slammed him, everyone's like, oh my God. When he did it in front of the crowd, everyone was like, oh my God. And the match, Andre pretty much dominated, and then obviously until, Hulkamania, Hulk Hogan did his Hulking up Hulkamania thing and body slammed him, and everyone was like, oh my God. Now it's kind of like nothing, but you get the picture. It still stands as one of the greatest WrestleMania moments of all time, and that's why it's the 5th best match on this list. Number 4, WrestleMania 10. We've got HBK versus Ramon for
What's WrestleMania, bro?
We've got Bret Hart.
What's WrestleMania, bro?
I want to break kayfabe here for a minute and just say something. Respect is a very powerful thing, right? And I'll get back to the list in a second, but see, I love doing this, right? I love coming on YouTube and telling you my opinion on the WWE. I love doing that. And the fact that every time I do this, someone always tries and bust through the door. Someone always tries to mess it up. It's like, do you not respect what I'm doing? That's like spitting in Tom Brady's face and saying, you're not a great football quarterback. That's like saying, F your rings, man. Who cares? That's like saying, Peyton Manning, you suck. You were injured so much. You don't deserve your title. It's like saying Michael Jordan isn't the greatest of all time. Whatever. Every time you chase basketball, saying you suck or something like that. It just gets frustrating, and I'm just to the point where I'm like, can I get a break, please? Can you respect me enough? I mean, everybody does it to me except for my mom. So just wanted to put that out there. But anyway, so you just know what I'm going through and all that. Respect. That's the main thing. Respect. It's not funny. If I was doing this video with my dad, they wouldn't be doing it. But because it's me, they want to do it. It's whatever. He does it. My two brothers do it. Sometimes my sister does it. Whatever. Let's just get back to the list. Alright, so I was at the fourth best WrestleMania match. WrestleMania 10, Shawn Michaels versus Razor Ramon for both Intercontinental Championships. This match was great because it revolutionized the ladder matches for WrestleMania. Not just for WrestleMania, but for the WWE whole. It meant something to be in a ladder match because of the way Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon did their job. I mean, you think of that ladder match, you think of Shawn getting thrown into the ladder, you think of Shawn leaping off top of the ladder, doing all these incredible things with the ladder and making it more important. Without this WrestleMania, there would be no TLC. I mean, Edge and Christian wouldn't have been as famous as they were. And, you know, sometimes ladder matches are good in a feud, you know, not always. And, you know, we always enjoy the Money in the Bank, which if this wasn't successful, there would be no Money in the Bank. So, you know, it's because of these guys. That's why Shawn Michaels is considered one of the best, not only because he puts on great matches, but because he creates history. And this, he did both. He had a great match and revolutionized a ladder match, making it mean something. So thank you, Shawn. Thank you, Razor. All right, on to number 3. The third best WrestleMania match. This shouldn't surprise anybody. Bret Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania 13 in a submission match. I believe it was no disqualification as well. This was on one of the best, or this was on the worst list of WrestleMania because it was one of the best matches on the card. Yet the rest of the card sucked. I believe Sid versus The Undertaker was the main event for that. So you understand why it's on here, because it was one of their best matches, and it was one of the best flip double turns, as we like to call it, as they like to call it in wrestling, because Austin came in as a heel, Bret came in as the face, and because Austin would not quit, because he would not submit, because he passed out, the fans cheered him and loved him because of that. And thus, when Bret Hart won the match, because of the way he did, he was furious and tried to attack him, but the special guest referee got him away. And Stone Cold was left standing, and yes, the Austin era began. Of course, it officially started at WrestleMania 14 when he won the title, but it unofficially started at WrestleMania 13 1 year earlier. So, the second best WrestleMania, WrestleMania 3 again. We have another technical match, but this time it was for the Intercontinental Championship again, but it was between Randy Savage and Ricky Steamboat. This match was good. If you like things like this is the match to go see. As I said earlier, I don't like watching old things, old shows, or old movies, because I just can't seem to get into it. There are a few exceptions to some, but other than that, I just can't get in, so I'll never watch it. But I know history, the WWE history more specifically, and I know that this match was one of the greatest of all time, so it is on this list. The fact that I'm getting into my number 1 here is when I was looking up this list and someone had Austin versus Hart as their number 1 match, and I'm thinking, okay, you know, that's reasonable, but my number 1 should be number 1, and it is number 1 in my opinion, because it was the perfect match. If you notice, there's one match on here that I did not mention, that I mentioned earlier, but I haven't said until now because it is my number 1. I had to switch number 3 and number 1 because it just wasn't right, at least to me, and that is The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels 1 at WrestleMania 25. WrestleMania 25 apparently was a disappointment. That was the first full WrestleMania I remember watching, because I don't remember watching full WrestleMania 24. The only thing I remember is Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair and Edge versus Undertaker, but this was the first full WrestleMania I remember seeing. I could be wrong about that, but that match was a perfect 10. It kind of started off slow, as all matches do. Like, no match ever starts off like that unless it's like a DQ match or something like that. But we're talking about just a regular wrestling match, and the fact that Undertaker and HBK put on the greatest WrestleMania match in all of WWE WrestleMania history. The reason why they had to have a second match at WrestleMania. 2 consecutive years, the first time that ever happened, if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean, you had super kick, you had a couple tombstones. I mean, these guys hit everything. Submission moves, tombstones, last rides, elbows to the hearts, everything. I mean, Undertaker had Undertaker dive over the rope as he normally used to do. and HBK pulled a camera guy in front of him who was supposed to catch him, but he just barely did, and get hurt a crack. I heard it, so I don't know if his head hit the camera, but it might have, because Taker just barely made it back in the ring at 9. So that was that. But the match was excellent. I mean, by the time the main event came around, no one didn't care. No one didn't care about the triple threat that came after that, because they were still, man, that Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, man, best WrestleMania match of all time. It rivals that of Randy Savage and Steamboat. It rivals that of Austin and Rock in all of their 3 matches. It rivals Owen Hart, but Bret Hart and Stone Cold Steve Austin. It rivals all those because it's just the perfect match, the perfect 10. So that's that. But that's pretty much it for today, or rather for this video. So tune back in later for I will give you the top 10 worst WrestleManias, okay? So until then, if you're not down with that, I've just got 2 words for you. Peace out.